The Owls went on the road to Purdue, where it was homecoming, where they boast the world's largest drum, and Florida Atlantic very nearly spoiled the party, going toe-to-toe with the Big Ten opponent and coming up just short 28-26 in West Lafayette, Indiana. Welcome to this week's Inside the Owls Burrow, alongside the Haggerty family head football coach Willie Taggart. I'm Frank FORTE. Coach, it was never more than a one-possession game. You were down one at the half, one go into the fourth quarter, on the road at night against a Big Ten team, and you had a chance to win it going into the fourth, and I guess there's not a whole lot more you can ask for.
Well, I mean, that's all we talked about during the week is playing for 4 quarters, give ourselves a chance in the fourth quarter, and let's see how the game go. You know, our guys competed for 4, and that was good to see our guys go compete like that. But unfortunately, we made too many mistakes and didn't get the win.
There was a definite commitment to the running game when you look at play selection in the first half, 29 runs to 11 passes. And they were mostly 3 to 5 yard runs, but you ate up clock, you shortened the game to keep yourself within striking distance, kept the ball away from their offense. Was that part of the overall strategy?
Well, we want to run the football, you know, with everything in the pass coming off the run. And so in that ball game, just, taking some time and keeping our defense off the field, but also trying to play to our offense to where we can run the ball and be able to get some plays down the field later on as we go throughout the game. And it started to work for us there late on in the game. But getting Zuberi and McCammon the ball was important to it. And it's got to be. Those guys can run the football. And that's our strength, is running football. Not
to mention, Nicosia had 93 yards rushing, so he was effective on the quarterback run.
Yeah, we felt going into that game, you know, the quarterback run would be good for us in that ball game. They were really stout up front and the inside. You know, they played a lot of man coverage, you know, so we figured having the quarterback in the run game would be helpful, and Nicosia did a good job running.
Well, it did set up the pass. LeJontay Wester, 9 catches, 90 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His 7 receiving touchdowns lead the NCAA. He talked this year about being more consistent. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, you're seeing a young man that worked his tail off this offseason, and he worked with his quarterback and have a really good feel for what we're doing. And he's older. You know, he's much more mature now, and it's paying off for him.
The Owls appeared to take the lead in the fourth quarter on a pass to Jaquan Burton, but it was called back for an illegal low block against the tight end, a call which you and your staff, I think, vehemently disagreed with. And it really was a 14-point swing, because then you had a turnover and they score. What was it about that play that you disagreed with?
Well, it was a legal block, you know, and they missed it. You know, the ref thought he was outside. He said he got him blocking from the outside, which he was in the tackle's position because we had an unbalanced formation, and that tackle was over where the tight end would normally be. So it made him legal to block there, and unfortunately, back off, terrible timing.
Defensively, you had 2 takeaways. I thought your team played really hard with a chance to win, just enough mistakes to prevent that from happening. You know, you had 3 defensive penalties on their first drive of the second half, so there's some things to clean up, but you give yourself, again, a chance to win. Now you got to take advantage of those things.
And we did. You know, our guys competed and they play hard, and our guys and I know they're trying really hard. They want to win and trying really hard, but we got to try hard, but try smart and stop hurting ourselves, doing things that killing ourselves with selfish penalties. So we got to clean those up. You know, it's tough to win that way. We got to clean up the turnovers. You know, we had too many turnovers in the game, and you know, that's not winning football. We clean those things up. We play much better, and we probably win that football game.
Well, this week the Owls get back to conference play, going to Denton to take on North Texas. These teams have not faced each other since the 2018 season, when North Texas won a wild 41-38 game. The Mean Green 2-3, 1-0 in the conference, coming off a loss to Memphis. So often we talk about outstanding quarterbacks or offensive players, but they've got K.D. Davis, number 1, their linebacker, who was preseason Conference USA Player of the Year. Does their defense sort of revolve around him?
Oh, absolutely. You know, he's a young man that played the game the way he's supposed to. You know, he played with fanatical effort. He's always around the football. So you need to know where he's at all times on the football field, and because he's going to be on the field. He's one of those guys. He's not going to spend much time on the sideline.
A 3-down linebacker.
Absolutely.
We also faced the world's oldest college football quarterback, Austin Anes, 29 years old. Now, he hasn't been playing college football for 10 years. He was a minor league baseball player, but you know, he's been around the block. How does that experience factor play in with him?
Well, you know, you're a lot older and been through some things. the normal thing that bothers young quarterbacks coming in. It doesn't get him as much. You know, he's much more mature, and you can tell that his teammates respect him and respect who he is, and they play him. They play him with him and for him. So that's always good.
Your players handled the atmosphere at Purdue very well because it was a packed house. It was homecoming for them. Is that a little bit of a sign of growth maybe on the road?
I think we got a little better. I mean, we didn't get the end result, but we got better playing on the road the way that we're supposed to. And our guys, they're understanding those things. We just gotta, again, fix those selfish things that we do, and we'll get the result. I thought they handled that atmosphere great. You know, we spent time with crowd noise all week, and I thought our guys handled that really well. You know, and so again, clean up some of those self-inflicted mistakes, and then I think we'll have ourselves a good football team.
Coach, have a great trip. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you very much, and go Owls.
Coming up next, where are they now with former Owl defensive back Sherrod Niesman? That's straight ahead on Inside the Owls Burrow.
This play here, we're in a 3-by-1 formation set. The Cozy did a great job on this play, recognizing the defense and the coverage that they're in. They're playing too high with the safety, and he did a great job of changing the route with LaJonte, and I thought it was great by both of those guys. LaJonte watching and the Cozy making the adjustment there, and he was going to run a corner route, but because of the coverage that they're in, he ran the post, and they did a great job executing this play. It was a signal. He gave him a signal to run this play, and again, great adjustment and great execution by these guys. Great protection.
Welcome back to the show. Former Owl defensive back Sherrod Niesman went from college walk-on player to being a part of 2 Super Bowls. Here's his story in Where Are They Now? Coming out of high school, you didn't really have any offers, so what did you do?
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I was a receiver, went to a smaller school, under-recruited, knew I had the talent, but I was like 170, one of the fastest guy, maybe like 5'11". Didn't attend any camps, didn't do any of that. Kind of felt like if I, had a good season, the offers would come. Nothing ever really came. So once I graduated, I kind of decided to do everything on my own, right? So I was thinking I'm gonna have to walk on somewhere. I started working because I knew I would have to pay for school when I walked on. So I started working. I worked at FedEx throughout the night. So it started at like 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then during the day, I had a day job at the outlet mall right at the street from my house.
Niesman played as a sophomore but suffered a knee injury late in the season, and his future was decidedly uncertain.
There's a new coach coming into the building, which was Charlie Partridge. There's a guy, a walk-on, who just blew his knee out. Don't know if he'll be able to come back and play or not. At that point, they could have just been like, okay, we good, we gonna, cut you off the team and go with our walk-on guys, And so that was a big point in my career. In that moment, I was rehabbing my ACL. I came back I missed spring ball. I came back for fall camp. And during fall camp, I pretty much showed them I belong here, and Coach Charlie Partridge and his staff granted me a scholarship. So it was dope. It was a good, surreal moment for me.
After finishing his Owl career with 4 interceptions and 146 total tackles, Niesman signed with the Atlanta Falcons as an undrafted free agent.
My rookie year, I was cut and put on P Squad, and then after 4 weeks, I got pulled up to the active roster. So let's say 5, 6 or something like that, I was on the active roster, but I didn't play until week 13. So week 13 I played, and then week 13 to week 16, and then all throughout the playoffs, I played in all those games. So the first play of the Super Bowl in my first year, as a pro, I was in the game. I played in that first play, and that was just amazing. That had to be one of the highlights of my career. And
did you have to look around and almost pinch yourself and say, is this real with all you've gone through?
It really didn't hit me because my mind was so focused on, okay, what's next, until I woke up the day of the Super Bowl, and I'm like, I'm really about to play in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So that's when it really hit me all at once, and I had to wake up and go for a walk and you know, that's when my nerves and anxiousness all hit, and like, wow, I'm really about to, you know, go play in a game later tonight that the whole world is gonna see, and I'm gonna be in the first play of the game. So, yeah, it was an amazing moment, and it was definitely the highlight of my career.
I think you had your first career pick as a New York Jet last season. So is that another moment that you'll treasure forever, that first NFL pick?
Yeah, I think I actually had one in preseason and stuff, but that was my first one in the league in a regular season game, and that's big. That's, of course, I love that. That was, I kind of put it in the same category of my sack on Tom Brady too. I mean, I loved it, but turnover is obviously bigger. It doesn't matter where it comes, and you know what I'm saying. But I think that was the highlight of my career for sure, as far as like personal accolades.
Without a team at the start of 2021, Sherrod signed on with the Rams late in the year, and although he wasn't active for the Super Bowl, he found himself again a part of pro football's biggest event.
The Rams had some issues at safety, so they said, you know, here's a guy that, you know, has had good, you know, played good on defense, played good on special teams, and is a vet in this league. Let's bring him in. Also has Super Bowl experience. Let's bring him in, and the Rams end up, you know, taking care of business, and I was there for the ride, and I was with those guys, and I cheered them on the whole way and stuff. So it was amazing actually closing that out and finishing the game and winning, like I didn't do my rookie year with the Falcons. So you definitely take it and say, you know, I am a champ, you know, so that was amazing.
Sherrod currently is not on an NFL roster, but at this time last year he wasn't either, and he wound up being a part of the Rams celebration. Coming up next, we'll get to know wide receiver Jaquan Burton. Pads off is straight ahead on Inside the Owls Burrow. Inside the Owls Burrow is brought to you in part by Baptist Health Orthopedic and Sports Medicine, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider of FAU Athletics, and by Florida Atlantic University, MBA in Sport Management. Welcome back to Inside the Owls Burrow. Building a college football career has been quite a process for wide receiver Jaquan Burton. He wasn't always a Division I player, and he came to FAU as a walk-on before earning a scholarship last season. He's our guest in this week's Pads Off. Great to talk this week with wide receiver Jaquan Burton from Orlando, Florida, Jones High School, kind of a pipeline from Jones to FAU. You've had several guys over the years come here from Jones. So what is it about Jones and FAU connection?
Head Coach Will, he just built a great relationship with, you know, guys like Coach Terry, Coach Kelly, and I mean, we produce, so they keep bringing us in.
Now, growing up in Orlando, did you have a favorite NFL team or player that you rooted for?
Not a team, but I definitely like the AB. Yeah, he's a dog, so I like the way he plays, 6th-round pick, and he did something that nobody else in the league was able to do, so I do admire him.
Your journey to FAU, it's kind of long and winding. You went to, you know, a junior college, then you went to FCS school at Southern Illinois, finally wound up here, and got a scholarship at the end of last season. So did that make the journey worthwhile?
Most definitely, and the journey still is not over, you know. The journey was always to make it to the NFL, so I mean, we still pushing, trying to get there.
Going through all that, how did you kind of keep your eyes on the prize or keep motivated to get where you wanted to be?
I mean, it wasn't really hard for me, you know, just growing up how I grew up, I knew like whatever I wanted I had to work for it. So, I mean, it was just a matter of time, me just being patient, just waiting it out really.
All right, let's get to know Jaquan a little bit away from the field here in Pads Off. Someone's writing about a book about your life so far. What should the title be?
I think the title should be Victorious, just because I feel like I overcame so much, so yeah.
What celebrity would you want to be your best friend?
Probably Elon Musk. Just birthdays, holidays. He might give me a ticket to the moon or something, I don't know.
Would you go in space on one of those trips?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What's a big world problem you'd like to change?
It's actually two. So I like to end world hunger, stuff like that, and then gun violence.
What is one question you wish people asked you more?
What's my routing number to my account? Because they can send me one.
What's your dream car?
A McLaren 570S, 570S.
This is a very popular question this year in Pads Off, and it came because we had Nick Weber mic'd up in spring ball. And he started talking about chicken wings and what people like on their chicken wings. And he says blue cheese, and he says people who like ranch are uncultured. So what side of that do you fall on, blue cheese or ranch?
I'm with Nick Weber. I like blue cheese, definitely.
What's your favorite thing to have for breakfast?
Grits.
Grits?
I love grits.
Who makes the best grits?
My granny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A little special ingredient or?
Salt, no sugar.
Which video game would you like to live in?
Grand Theft Auto, definitely. My character on Grand Theft Auto, he live in a high rise. You know what I'm saying? I got like 20 cars. I love to live in.
What was your favorite cartoon character when you were growing up as a kid?
Definitely SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob type of guy, yeah. Yeah, I still watch it sometimes to this day.
If you had a warning label, what would it say?
Warning, unhumanized behavior.
You seem like such a nice guy though.
Yeah, but when I'm on the field, I'm a different animal.
If you could time travel, would you go in the past or the future, and why?
I'll go to the future just because I want to see, like, was I successful? Did I complete the mission that I got set for myself? And I want to see, like, if my mom and my parents are still there too, because I don't know. I know everybody's gonna die one day, so.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up like this, a little surprise question. Which one of your teammates would make the best reality show contestant on TV?
Either Jamal Edrin or LaJonte Western.
Keeping it in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, they are for the camera. Everything they do for the camera. So I think that'd be good.
Jaquan, thanks for taking the pads off and
Thank
being
you,
with us this
Frank.
week. Up next, the story of offensive tackle Brendan Bordner's family connection to FAU. That's straight ahead on Inside the Owls Burrow. Welcome back to Inside the Owls Burrow. I'm Frank FORTE. Last spring, Brendan Bordner came to FAU as a graduate transfer from Rutgers, and he immediately stepped in as the starting left offensive tackle. However, the native of Columbus, Ohio, already had a connection to Florida Atlantic.
I was the swimming team, and it was women only, in 1984. So that was my first year of coaching here as a head coach, and they had me coaching the men's and women's cross country team also.
Have things changed much?
Yeah, just a little. This whole place is completely different. All we had was this pool, and that wasn't even a thought in anybody's little mind. And it cracks me up that the building behind us is exactly the same. And that's the only thing that looks familiar to me on this campus at all.
Did you guys have any discussions at all about him coming to FAU once he got his degree from Rutgers?
We did. Once he put himself in the portal, I started asking him where he was thinking of going, and he gave me all kinds of, different universities to look at, and I went, oh, you have to go to FAU. That's where I started swimming team there, and my sister lives down here. I said, so you got a family nearby, and I know what's going on, a little bit of what's going down on there, and everybody will come to your games down here, so. You
were looking to transfer and had FAU on your list. Were you aware that your grandmother had been a swim coach here?
Yeah, I knew that. I think it was something that I was kind of made sure I wanted to let her know specifically about that opportunity. It was definitely something that she was pretty excited by.
We see him, he's got the mullet, he's a big physical kid, but to you, what's he like?
He's a great kid. When he was a baby, his parents and his brothers, I was between jobs and contemplating retirement even back then. So I was really involved in getting to be around while he was growing up. So he's always been very athletic, very, very strong. And I, of course, enjoyed that because that's all me. I like to play, so I dubbed myself the play grandma. So I taught him how to ski and helped all the boys learn how to swim properly and all those kind of fun things that I wanted to do with them when they got older.
She taught us how to swim. That was something she was always real passionate about. Being in the Keys, trying to get us out on boats and stuff. Not always the best sailboat captain, but still here, so.
He's very quiet until he gets to know people. but he's really driven. He's my reader of all the grandkids.
Growing up, I was really big into reading. I think a lot of Tom Clancy books, any kind of history, like just kind of historical events. Kind of just wanted to learn about like just world history and stuff, and especially kind of anything related to just kind of old wars and everything.
He's really dived into researching World War II on his own in high school, and especially when he found out that my husband's father, so his great-grandfather, was shot down in the Pacific during World War II.
Pretty interesting story. He got shot down in the Pacific and had to live out on an island for a couple months evading the Japanese and some unfriendly locals. I think there was a Life story about it, or a story in Life magazine back in the 40s about it. So growing up, I always got to see his medals and everything at our house.
Now, when you watch him play, are you nervous?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I don't know really anything about football, so all I do is watch to see if he's doing his job right, because I can't see the big picture. I don't know football enough. We just talk about that, about how I think he looked really good, or he, ooh, you missed that one, but I try not to be too coachy.
She understood a little better when I played defense, if I made a tackle or whatnot, but I think as far as she goes, as long as the guy that I'm blocking doesn't make a tackle, I think she thinks I do pretty well.
What's he told you about his experience so far at FAU?
He doesn't even have to tell me. His demeanor is completely different. He's so happy. He's thrilled to be playing and seems to enjoy the teammates and the atmosphere down here with the coaching staff and everything. I mean, I've asked him, but I can see it more than he talks about it.
Her sister lives down here in Fort Lauderdale, so she gets to go see her a lot more than she used to. And then I know she has a couple of her former swimmers that she's still close with that she can stay and visit while she's down here. So it's been good for her too.
That's our show for this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Fort. We'll see you next week on Inside the Owls Burrow.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.